Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another audio commentary. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and today, this episode is on the Spice World review for the 20th anniversary review. This episode was actually requested in my last live stream, so basically I figured, why the hell not? I'll take a look back at this episode and kind of talk about what went on behind the scenes. First of all, I must say, I don't know if I've addressed this in my previous episodes or not, but this intro is great. Like, this was the first intro that kind of sets up the entire plot of the show, essentially, and how everything runs. And it was overall a really great intro to work on first time. A lot of these shots were done at Anime North and a couple of years ago, trying to get the idea of what the show's like. I remember I had these two cosplayers here. I just said, make it look like the intro to Pokemon, where, like, Ash and the group kind of all come together in that one shot. But yeah, working with, like, the Toronto Power Rangers, which is a review that's coming up. We have Star Wars cosplayers. Actually, Josh is the one in the Comic-Con thing. This Android 18, I can't remember who she was, but I did meet her a couple of times at Anime North. She's a super nice chick, and I just thought it would be nice to get that in that intro. Timber, I think at some point I'm going to actually do more with, because I know a lot of people have been wondering where she's been at. The last time we saw her was probably in, like, the Star Wars episodes, which at some point I do want to do a commentary on as well. Anyway, so this episode, I think this was the first of Season 3 of the 2016 or 2017 reviews. I can't remember off the top of my head. And the reason I wanted to do this was because there wasn't really many episodes or reviews out there on YouTube that really took a crack at this film, especially from a guy's perspective, myself being one of them. So basically, a lot of the reviews, there was either Lindsay Ellis's review from way back then, and there was some other reviewer, but they were all from girls' perspectives. But I want to talk it from a guy's perspective, because back in the 90s, it was hard to admit to public that you like something that girls like. Spice Girls, they have really good music. I enjoy everything they've done. They were a really cool band back then, up there with, like, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Hanson. Well, nobody fucking remembers Hanson. But boy bands back in the 90s, guys, they were huge. Like, the group bands, the 5 trios, they were a massive thing back then. And basically, with their success, they did a feature film, and I was dragged into this by my sister back in '98 into the theater with my family, and I was like, oh, what the hell? And I think the movie, yeah, it's bad, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure bad, where you can enjoy it for what they were just making up on the spot. So, and if you guys are wondering, yes, Jerry was always my favorite Spice Girl. I think other than that was probably Mel C, who was the British one, not the black one, the British one. Yeah, Mel C, there we go, the one that looks like an Ecto Cooler joke. So basically, this was kind of going for essentially an entire Nostalgia Critic-esque episode, where it was more like a riff review than it is a review informing on the production. Because I decided to kind of go back on this movie and kind of look at it, because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I'm like, wow, this is a very odd movie. Like, why is Elton John here? Well, because Sesame's, like, this clip from one of the Muppet movies, classic clip joke I love. Then you got Alan Cumming, like, all these people are in this film, and they serve no purpose whatsoever. So, for me, like, this movie is just kind of like a good nostalgic time capsule of, like, how music artists did movies, because you had Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, which in my opinion is the superior music artist film. And then you have things like Justin Bieber's Never Say Never Now. You have Vanilla Ice's Cool as Ice, which is terrible. But yeah, the Spice Girls were huge. And so yeah, I remember watching this movie in theaters, and then, oh my god, yeah, this bus is awesome. I know this was actually, people have told me this was just a set on the Sony lot, but if they were able to make buses like that, I would fucking buy one and just travel around the world. So this episode also had to be trimmed down a lot. What you're seeing is the YouTube edition. The original version got constant copyright claims, and so I had to basically cut a few things out. Like, there's a whole dance number in the middle of the episode. There's some stuff at the beginning. And yeah, discount Carl Denham, because this guy looks like a Carl Denham kind of thing. Because every time I can bring up King Kong in one of my reviews, because that's what I'm known for, I'll do it, essentially. And this is another thing. The movie is self-aware. It is a self-aware film, and you see, I think because they were pretty much contractually obligated by Sony to do a movie, they kind of thought, well, let's just show that we're doing it for the hell of it, and we know it's a movie, because it's on the same kind of comedy levels as things like George of the Jungle, the Inspector Gadget movie with Matthew Broderick, that kind of self-aware humor that was apparently really big in the late 90s. That was a huge thing back then. And then you have, what is this, Roger Moore, I think? Yeah, because I didn't find out later. This is Roger Moore from James Bond. I was like, oh shit, okay. That's funny, he's now the bad guy. And for some reason, the set here, the office, reminded me of Jurassic Park, so I had to make this Dennis Nedry joke. You didn't say the magic word. Please! God damn it, hate this hack of crap. And then you have this big tubby guy who's the camera dude or the mic dude, reminding me so much of Bradley when he was playing Herb and Cog, so that's why I had to make that comparison. That was actually a joke, photo off the set. Yeah, and that's another thing. This movie has like 20,000 subplots and so many like what-if flashback imaginative things. Like, I think honestly, they didn't have a script. They didn't have a script for this. It just didn't make sense. Okay, for those, like that Roland Lenska joke, a lot of people when they watched this review didn't understand. That was from Queen Kong, because Roland Lenska played Loose Habit, which was a Carl Denham role. And Queen Kong is actually not that bad of a comedy. I like that, the whole thing with the samurai stabbing himself, like, I thought that was hilarious, because I made a similar joke like that before in my, Kong King of the Apes review, where I drink bleach, which wasn't actually bleach. And then you have jokes like this, like, what is this, like, they repeat the same shot, or if they find a cure for deja vu. Like, why, I don't get that. And the only joke I could make about that was, like, YouTube poop reference, like, old school YouTube poop. And then you got this shit. You got, like, this guy, pure rain out of random. Like, half these jokes, I don't understand them. I don't know if these were, like, discount Monty Python jokes. Like, this joke I didn't understand, so I just made it my own joke, where just the rain's happening on me. Which was just a digital green screen effect you can find on YouTube. I just wanted to make that joke. I wish I could have been a little bit more soaked in that shot, though. So yeah, it was just kind of weird kind of going back and watching this and realizing, yeah, this does not hold up as well. But then there's some people, like my sister and my cousin, are like, no, it's still good, it's still good. It's like, yeah, it's good, but it's the cheesy good where you know it's bad. I love Jimmy Norton. Jimmy Norton over the last 5 years has become one of my favorite comedians, because I've been listening to a lot of reruns of the Opie and Anthony show on YouTube, and Opie and Anthony are the raunchiest radio hosts I've ever heard. Now, this joke about cosplay photo shoots stems from actual real-life things, not in terms that they're bad, but I've been actually working with in a bunch of cosplay photo shoots recently at a studio. There's a really cool cosplay photographer I work with called Everidge Studios. He's on Instagram. I'll put a link below. But I've been helping him out with a lot of his studio shoots, and I've been doing prop master stuff, so that joke is sort of a self-aware joke that, like, yeah, I'm making fun of myself, the fact that I do go to photo shoots, and they're great. I love that joke, like, The Dark Knight, like, any Batman jokes you can make with people disappearing out of shot is great. Yeah, I don't get this, like, all I thought of was Sansa Stark, because that recent Game of Thrones series, that whole season with her in that dress actually just came out, so I couldn't help but make that joke. Now, halfway through editing this episode, the footage I got, the rip of the DVD I had actually gone out of sync at this point, so it's starting to become very complicated in the editing at this point, so that's why some of it looks a little bit out of sync because of the editing problem, so I had to fix it up later on in a later cut and everything, and it was crazy. And yeah, back then, like, gay people weren't as represented as they are now, and I love this joke about fucking the sand people. The sand people are easily startled, but they'll soon be back, and in greater numbers. Okay, I couldn't think of another joke to make about the Ear Mama except the air horn and the Thug Life thing, which I think, I don't know why, I love jokes like that. Okay, this is where, okay, when I was watching this movie again, I had completely forgot about this alien scene. And when I watched it the first time, this is my genuine reaction, I was like, what the fuck? I had to literally, like, I was watching it with Bradley and another friend, we were watching this, and we got to this part, and we were just like, stop! Stop the movie! Stop, movie! movie, we had to pause it, because we were in such disbelief at what the hell we were looking at. This weird Close Encounters, what the fuckery. Like, this is where the movie just didn't know what, this is where we knew there was no script. There was no script at this point. They just said, aliens, because Mars attacks, or what the fuck ever. Yeah, the aliens in Indiana Jones were more. And the scene's also really disturbing, because the aliens are copping feels, they're kissing the aliens. Like, you swear to God, this is gonna turn into a hentai of sorts, where, like, you know, aliens and shit. It's really weird. And why do the aliens look like they came off the Land of Oz meets the Troll Dolls? It makes no sense. Yeah, it was really kind of uncomfortable to watch. Even as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And yeah, this was the first time I think also I did a commercial break in between scenes. So, like, that was the first time you cut to black and there's commercial. And yeah, we're back. So, and then we cut to this whole boot camp thing, which the only joke I had was, first of all, the uncomfortable wide-angle lens, which was a thing back in the late 90s. Baby Geniuses and so many other movies did that, where they tried to be kind of fancy by doing these wide-angle lenses, and they were really disturbing. Yeah, half of these reactions are my genuine reactions to this movie. I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, where's the pot at? Like, I feel like this would be more appreciated on pot. So we had this boot camp scene, and all I thought was Full Metal Jacket. And I had just, funny enough, when I did this review, Josh and I watched Full Metal Jacket, or I watched bits of it, and I was like, oh wow, this movie's great. And here's my thoughts on Full Metal Jacket very quickly. Everything at the boot camp is great. After those two get, spoiler, killed off, the movie just sucks, and I don't care anymore. I swear I didn't add this. They added the Jason sound effect, so it was just like, what the fuck do we do here? And then this part makes no goddamn sense. How the fuck does his whole body go in through that toilet? Like, that makes no sense. Toilets don't work like that. Like, I really don't know what's going on. And then you have this weird Scooby-Doo shit, so all I thought was Scooby-Doo, so I had this cartoon thing of Scooby-Doo going by. Which, yeah, the effect isn't best, but the joke is to the point, and that was really difficult getting a shot like that on green screen. Oh no, plot! Okay, yeah, because that's all I thought of watching that scene where they're all together in the bed, is just Tourette's guy going, are we gonna fuck or what? Fashion bog! And, okay, so this whole Spice Force 5 thing, I think, would have been a better movie. Even though, like, it was cashing in on Charlie's Angels before Charlie's Angels was made. And if you want our thoughts on the new one, go check out JT's Reborn Review on Midnight Screenings. But yeah, like, it would have been a better movie. Good action figures and everything. And then, obviously, yeah, Mission Impossible, because that was a thing in the 90s! That was popular! Like, I don't, like, this movie's weird. It predates a lot of cliches that we see now. And then this is the biggest fuck you. Bob Hoskins making this cameo. I don't know why he's even here. This is where I was just like, why are you here, buddy? Like, you were in fucking Roger Rabbit, Hawk, you were in much better movies here. Like, was he just, literally, I feel like he was just walking down the street on the set, and he's like, I'll do it, fuck, I got nothing to do. There were so many breaking points with this movie watching it. I mean, yeah, I know it's bad, like, it is technically a bad movie, but, I can appreciate, like, the nostalgic capsule of what it is, because it is a cash grab. Like, look, Jerry's suit, her butt cheeks on the logo had dollar signs. That's how obvious they were. And then this is actually one of my favorite skits I ever did, because back in the 90s, the Spice Girls were girls' idols. For me, my favorite girl idols were the Sailor Scouts from Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is one of my favorite animes. So I wanted to do this sequence kind of like just talking with them because I just needed a break. And I actually really love how these green screens, some of my best green screen work here came out here, because all it was me sitting in front of a green screen and then putting a flat PNG bench behind me, and then the background of the series behind me as well, and those children in the corner are very still. But yeah, honestly, that's one of my favorite skits I ever did on my show, because it was just to the point, very quick, editing the scene great. And what's great is with the Sailor Moon voice actors from the Deke dub, like, I know all of them. They're really good friends of mine, and they're some of the nicest people I've ever met in a con or whatever. And yeah, this is another thing. that whole Nintendo Power joke. Funny enough, they're now thinking about doing Warner Brothers is thinking about doing The Mask 2 with Jim Carrey. So hopefully that Nintendo Power kid who won that contest finally gets his dues and he gets a really good role in that film. Why is Jerry dressed like she's like at Slytherin in Hogwarts?
I don't think so. You can definitely blame Jerry for that.
Yeah, that's the like watching that again. I'm like, wow, how ironic is that? That only like a few months after she would do that. Now, people don't get this joke, because the whole thing about Spider-Man, Marvel, and everything, and Evil Dead, obviously it's Sony at the time thinking about the production of the first Spider-Man that Sam Raimi did with Tobey Maguire, so they were in that process at the time in 98 or 97, figuring it out, because I think Cameron had the rights too, and that's where that joke came from. So I had the scene at the bar. I have a bar down in my basement I'm able to use as a set. And the music in the background, I forget, it's some classical music, but what's great about it, it's used in Bad Santa, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies. And then you have this guy. I remember watching this again, I'm like, that's the mayor of Lake Town from The Hobbit. Like, what the hell? So, obvious testicle joke. Now, there was a whole scene that was cut where I talked about their flashback when they're at the bar, and we have this whole bit where we're doing the scene from Wannabe, and we're dancing around and everything, and unfortunately, we had all these cameos. We had Nick Jackson, Bradley Dunn, we had all these cameos, and Sony copyrighted it, so we couldn't use it. So we had to, like, abandon it, unfortunately. Now, this whole scene, you know, nightclubs, like, I go to my fair share of nightclubs and everything, which are great, but I wanted to make a joke about, like, the scene in the movie and then cut to Batman at some point, because that scene in The Dark Knight is great. Like, for some reason, I want to do a Batman, like something with Batman. I want to see Batman go into a nightclub, and everybody's like, oh shit, it's Batman, because it can remind me a lot of the 90s Batman's, Batman Forever and shit. And this is where the movie gets good. Like, the whole movie was centered around the Spice Girls in a hospital with this child in labor. This is where the jokes work, for some reason. Like, I love how Jerry is wearing rubber gloves, like, rubber cleaning gloves. Like, what's the point of that? But for some reason, that just adds so much more humor to it. I don't know why. So, yeah, shooting that, the club scene, I just basically filmed in the basement. I had a strobe light that I was able to hang on the ceiling, and then just had some Monopoly money that I just threw, and I thought that was great. And it's weird, because I wanted to just obviously make some sort of anime joke, so I couldn't find any that many animes that deal with pole dancers, essentially. Oh, every boy wanted to be that kid. I don't know where that kid is now, but he was one lucky bastard. Now, that cartoon sound effect of the anvil hitting me, that's actually from Disney's Peter Pan, if you're wondering, when Hook gets hit by the cannons. And then this music's from Aladdin. And obviously this joke about the Garbage Pail Kids. The reason I chose the Garbage Pail Kids, because it did match the background of what I was shooting there. Because it looks like the antique place in the film. Now, I've seen Garbage Pail Kids. I don't know if I'll ever review it, but it is, like, I think of it as a guilty pleasure. Like, I know it's really bad, but it's up there with, like, Troll 2 in terms of so bad it's good. I love that joke, just, oh, that is girl power. Oh, forcing that puns. And then, this joke, Grand Theft Auto. That's all I thought of was a Grand Theft Auto joke. Now, the reason I made this joke was mostly because, one, I wanted to make a Grand Theft Auto joke, but I wanted to use the song Flock of Seagulls, I Ran So Far Away, which I remember, essentially, that song is the theme song to Grand Theft Auto, in my opinion, and it's mostly because the trailers for Vice City always had that song playing. Yeah, pointless Batman sound effects, but, and what's great is about this whole scene is that it's meant to be a big joke about the Spice Girls video game on PS1, which I played as a kid with my sister, and it's fucking terrible. Like, literally, you can't play the game. Like, it's just pure random shit, and it makes no fucking sense. But, yeah, like, I love that whole joke about it being Grand Theft Auto Spice City, because it rhymes with Vice. Yeah, so that game's terrible. Like, that's a terrible game.
So the girls arrive at the concert hall, and I swear...
Yeah, okay, you're running up the stairs. Rocky! Obviously do Rocky, and they're not even going up that many stairs. Come on, like, this makes no sense. Like, it's not even the same location. I guess because they have the rights to the song, fine, they can do that. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not, and this is my biggest problem. It's not. It isn't! Like, if you were playing this in fucking Pennsylvania, or Philadelphia or whatever, wherever Rocky took place, that would have made sense, but no. Instead, you gotta look like Joel Schumacher Batman villains, you gotta look like Poison Ivy.
I really want to apologize.
Anytime I can use Joel Schumacher saying I really want to apologize is gold, because I forgive Joel Schumacher for saying that, but it is a running joke on my show. I should probably bring that back. So yeah, you have this whole thing at the end, like the movie is just random. It's just a pure random movie that makes no goddamn sense, and then you have this shit. Like, honestly, they knew what they were doing. They knew, hey, Sony just gave us a couple, $50 million, let's just go to town with it. Like, it didn't even look like they spent much on it. And yeah, and then you have this fourth wall bit, which I remember as a kid, freaking me out seeing it in the theater, because I'm like I actually tried, like, it was like a real conversation as a kid watching this, and it's funny because there were only a few movies that did that where they interacted with the audience, and like there was this one, then there was Elmo and Grouchland where like Bert and Ernie are looking at the crowd and everything, and I like jokes like that where they can like talk to the audience in a theater, because that actually is it has potential for good gags. I do like this joke, too, with the bomb and me detonating it, because that was how the movie ends. The movie ends, the bomb goes off. And, we don't know what happened, so I want to be the one, I'm the one who did it. So, yeah, it was just, this episode was very simple to put together. Just sit down, watch the movie, riff it, come up with good jokes, and then just make something of it. I'm not one to do that many riff reviews, because I'm more rather talk about the movies and what went on behind the scenes and my opinion of certain scenes and being more of a positive critic, but this is one of those films where I did need to kind of discuss why it's bad in a way that any other reviewer would do it, nostalgia critic and so on, because, yeah, it makes no fucking sense. It makes no goddamn sense in the long run. So there is a nostalgic charm. I think the one thing I remember the most about this movie is the VHS, where they had the teaser trailer for The Mask of Zorro, because really in hindsight watching it again, this movie got me to eventually review Mask of Zorro. So thank you, Spice World. No Spice World means no Mask of Zorro, means no fandom, and all thanks to that. Okay, this scene of Jack Black from Peter Jackson's Kong, that's actually a deleted scene. That's why people ask, where is that in the movie? I don't remember that sequence, but it was a bit in the deleted scenes. If you get the Ultimate Edition Blu-ray or the extended DVD, you can find those deleted scenes, I think, on the first disc. So, yeah, like, I think it's an okay movie. Like, I don't think it's like ideal, but if you want a nice little time capsule from 1997-98, this is a movie for you. Although I would say Moonwalker is a better film, and that's something I'm thinking at some point I do want to talk about Moonwalker, because it is very unappreciated, and I watched Nostalgia Critic's review of it, and then I watched the movie itself. I'm like, wow, this is an amazing piece of art. So, yeah, that's really all I gotta say about this episode. There's not much to it. This is pre-plot BigJackFilms reviews, where it was more just about making jokes, but nowadays it's about, you know, plot points, so there's no post-credit scene, not really much to talk about. It was more skit-based. So, again, like, this, it's just that. I hope you enjoyed this commentary, and I'll see you guys later. So, what are your thoughts on this film? Let me know in the comments section below, and as always, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Follow me on TikTok, follow me on Discord, and I'll see you guys later. And that link is no longer available, unfortunately, so maybe someday I'll put it somewhere else. But until the next video, I'll see you guys in the next video or whatever. This is BigJackFilms signing out. Bye!